Hey guys, it's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Took the engine out of the LTV10 because I don't know, I hate to throw it away, but that's a better tractor. So I took that engine off and put it on that tractor. The U.S. Marine Corps themed Craftsman 2 lawn tractor. I'm going to park this in the backyard until I figure out what to do with it. Does have cool front wheels though, huh? That's right. Guess what I'm getting ready to work on? Gt6000. Yeah. Shin. Damn toe ball. Oh. Yeah, this thing steers now. That's right. We bad. It steers. I'm thinking about putting the plow on the Gt6000. These are the plow brackets from the USMC one. Let's see if it fits. Yeah, it looks like it has the holes perfect for it. Boom! Yep, it fits. I'm gonna put the plow on this baby. Yeah. as you guys saw, I installed the engine mounting plate. I had to find the screws for it, you know, in my box of tools. So it took me a while, and then when I did put it on, I forgot to put the firewall through the same bolt on that side, so that was screwy. That took me a while longer. And so now I've got another issue, guys. It's Murphy's Law, right? Or Henry's Law now. The holes don't match up. They're not even close. I'm going to have to do some drilling on that really thick steel engine mounting plate. Unbelievable. But my flywheel came for that thing. The crankshaft is very rusty. Now the crankshaft's nice and shiny, and I'm going to go and get some pulleys just to test. What I've got here is a double pulley. This is a 5.5 inch pulley. That's pretty big, right? So I figure I'll put it on like that and run the belt around this 5.5 pulley. I also have this bigger 6 3/4 inch one. See how fast I can go with the 6 1/4 inch one? I want the big one. What do you think of that monster pulley, huh? Huge. So this little weenie belt here, I just pulled the shortest one that I had. This is not even going to reach, you know what I'm saying? But I got a much longer belt too that'll be able to fit around that big pulley. And when you step on the brake, it gives it slack. However, guys, I was just looking at the holes. Not only do they not match up there and there, they don't match up there and there either. It's just off, man. I got to take this engine off and measure correctly and see. So I have the engine on its side, or back, or front actually, because remember, this is horizontal, so that shaft is sideways. The bottom there is the other side. Sometimes I get confused too, because this is my first horizontal riding mower that I'm working on. Never worked on it before. Alright, so let's see here. Got a hole there. Got a hole there. Here. There's 4 holes on this side. 4 holes on this side. Just want to make sure they all go through. That one doesn't go through. Oh, okay. It goes through, but it something else is hitting it over there. Alright, so I'm going to measure width-wise the center of the hole. This is 7 and a little more than a half, so, but not quite 3/4, you know, so what is that? I can never get the, I think it's 5/8, right? So 7 and 5/8. It's so difficult. If I do it side to side, the extreme left part of the hole to the extreme right part of his hole, it's 8 inches. And then that was 5 inches from that hole to that hole. Yep. As you can see from the bolt pattern on this plate, the closest two are together is 6 inches for these two. I did this one, the closest one is 7 and an 1/8 inch. Okay, now what did I say the width was? 8, right? Yeah. So let's see. See, that's off too. The width is off too. So I have to drill 4 freaking bolts. 4 freaking holes. Or 3 holes, you know, at least 3 holes. Why did I buy this plate again? It's not an exact match, man. Well, it's probably an exact match for this tractor. It is. But I don't think they expected me to put a modern Vanguard on there. Well, I wouldn't say modern, but at least a Vanguard engine on there, you know? Well, I don't understand why they don't make the holes the same freaking, you know, pattern, you know? I could do some drilling maybe. So I'm thinking, I'm measuring the 8 inches apart, right? I'm going to use these 2 holes. It looks like if you use, if I just like grind or drill about, you know, it's easy if the hole's already made, you know what I mean? I'll just lean towards this side and make this hole wider up to here, you know? So that's 8 inches. We'll do that here, right? Then I gotta go 5 inches from this hole to that area. So I've got a hole punch over here. I'm using it just to mark a line, you know? You know what they say, measure once, measure twice, cut once. That's basically what I'll have to do. I hate drilling. I never have good enough bits. You know what I mean? I just bought some new bits, but I bet you I'm going to use that whole pack. Alright, so I've got this marked off, right? Okay, so here to here is 8 inches. Here to here is 5 inches. I want to go exactly along this line. So I'm going to take this and go right in the middle of that hole. Right in the middle of this hole. And just go like this. Just so I know that that's exactly centered. Kind of eyeball it, that it's half of that circle or hole. That's about right. Alright, so I've got the lines here, and my 5 inches crisscrosses right here. So right here is the X. Right there. Here's an X. There's an X. So if I drill a big hole right here, This should be that 5-inch hole, 5 by 8-inch hole right there. And that ought to be good enough to mount that engine. I'm going to use the forward holes because I've got such a long pulley. You know, the crank goes out, the pulley goes out too, but it looks like if I mount it here, because I placed the engine right there, right? And it seems to match up with this belt right there. So I'm going to punch it right here and just start drilling, man. It's not going to be any fun, though. I'll tell you that much. So my battery died, and of course I couldn't stop working just to wait for my battery to charge, you know what I mean? So I went ahead and started connecting all this stuff. So I got a fuel pump, mounted it to the wall, the fuel line going through the firewall, connecting to a fuel filter, connected to the back. The center one is a pulse line. That's the vacuum that sucks or pushes, whichever. And I have it connected to the breather hose. Why? I just wanted to test it because I couldn't find the pulse port anywhere. Okay? It's supposed to be on these Vanguard V-twins. There's supposed to be a hole right here in the valve cover. Alright? And it's supposed to be mounted right around here. But I don't have one. So I was looking everywhere for a pulse line, you know? How did this thing work without a pulse line, you know? So finally I texted Pete Lombardi, because that's the person who gave me the engine, right? I says, hey, where's the pulse port? He goes, I think that could have been a gravity fed machine because it was off of a power washer and the gas tank was on top of the engine. As you can see from these brackets over here, this was probably the air cleaner, but gas tank was probably on top, you know? Man, that's one hell of a power washer, isn't it? Well, anyway, so because I can't find a pulse line, it's not getting any gas, you know, because the fuel pump's not working without a pulse line. You definitely need that pulse from the crankcase. So, what I'm thinking is either drill a hole here, but then that's a little that's a little iffy, you know what I mean? If I screw up, man, I got to get a new valve cover, you know what I mean? But then I noticed that there's a fuel cap here, right? Well insulated fuel cap. And then you say, oh, well, Henry, you can't mess up the fuel cap, you know? I mean, not the fuel cap, the oil cap, right? But guess what? It has a dedicated oil reservoir. See? So that's a dedicated oil reservoir. And it also has another one over here, which is, I guess it's easier to fill on this side. I don't know. I don't know why they have two of them. But I could literally just drill a hole in here and stick the
stick the hose in there. You know what I mean? I mean, I'll try to make it look presentable and stuff, but that's where the pulse line should go, in the crankcase area for the vacuum. So I'll think about doing that. In the meantime, I've got the battery hooked up here. It's a lot of space in here, so I could actually fit the battery sideways. Perfect length for my wires. I connected the negative ground through the firewall onto the frame here for good ground. This has a solenoid. It came like this, guys. It has a solenoid screwed onto the starter, you know, and I was amazed that you know, could it have actually worked this way? I guess it did. Anyway, also, this is obviously the dual magneto kill wire, and it's onto a red wire, which is weird, you know. And then the only other thing that's hanging on this ignition switch, I think this used to be like on there somewhere. Ignition switch is this black wire here sticking out. So I wonder where this goes. If this was a 4-post solenoid, this black one I would think would go onto the 4th post, you know what I mean, for ground. But it's a 3-post solenoid. So I'm thinking maybe this is a ground wire, which means that, and it's connected to the harness, to the ignition switch. So I'm thinking this is the magneto wire for the ignition switch. And I just have to connect this magneto kill wire to this black wire. I mean, I'll figure it out if the engine starts and it won't shut off, and I'll just touch it and it should shut off, hopefully. If not, I'll just take this and go like that. Zzz. But everything else here was already hooked up with the engine, you know, the voltage regulator, 2 wires, yellow from the stator into the voltage regulator, 1 red wire coming back out, going back into the ignition switch, which eventually leads to the battery, and hopefully the battery charges up that way. But that's what I've been doing. I've been pretty busy. I put a crankshaft bolt onto the drive pulley. Look at the size of that pulley, fellas. I might do wheelies. Oh, and I also fabricated a belt guide so that the belt doesn't slip off. I was surprised. It really seems to work all right. The belt is like a 108-inch belt that I got from that old John Deere RX-75. Look at this. It's perfect. You know, if I wanted to stop, put the brake on, and it no longer sits on the pulley. You let go, put it in gear. Vroom! There it goes. It should work. It seems to work. It seems to fit pretty well. It is exactly vertical to where the pulleys are on the bottom. And you know what? I'm going to crank it right now and see if it cranks. So I don't think it's going to start, of course, because it's not going to get any gas. I just want to see if it cranks, you know what I mean? Theoretically, it should. I'm trying this for the first time. Hope I don't zap myself or something. Battery's connected to the starter. It's grounded. Here we go. Yeah. Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm going to work on that pulse. I'm going to take that blue cap off that left valve cover, or right valve cover, and see what I could find on making some kind of a fitting on there to put a pulse line on. So I bought this gauge from China. 2 of them from China. $2.45. The fitting's too thin. And of course I didn't figure that out until I took the old one off and stripped it. That's right, I stripped it. So now I just have 1 gauge on here. I just took the hose and plugged it directly in there. I was lucky to be able to get that inside out because it was sticking out a little. Just took some vice grips and slowly got it out. So it doesn't leak or nothing, but I don't have this regulator thing with the other thing, you know. I might get one. These things are pretty cheap, actually. Harbor Freight has them too. Anyway, I'm gonna try to get my $2 back from China. Look at this. I mean, it doesn't even fit. Crazy, man. An update on the Craftsman USMC Marine Corps thing. I was just waiting for the flywheel. I did get the flywheel yesterday, but I can't stop what I'm doing now and work on that. You know, all I have to do is put the flywheel on and find where the magneto hooks up. That's all. But this thing's got me so excited, and I'm so close. You know what I mean? I can't stop what I'm doing. I gotta finish this. So here's the gas cap, right? Or the oil cap. And I drilled a hole through it, and I put this plastic tube through it, and it's pretty airtight. I had to kind of jam it in there. So this thing will fit a hose. So I just cut a new hose. Made this extra long so that it has good, you know what I'm saying? It's so it's really on there. For a pulse to work right, you can't have any leakage. So this will be nice and tight. I think that'll probably work. All right, so that's that. So I'm going to crank it and see. It's going to take a while for it to get any fuel, of course. But I've got an issue over here. Hold on. This thing keeps on coming off. Okey-doke, so here I'm going to try it. I don't even know if it's getting any gas. I don't smell any gas. I don't think it's getting any gas. I'm going to loosen this fuel line here and see if this damn fuel pump's even working. You know what I mean? There's the fuel line, see? See if any fuel shoots out of here. No fuel shooting out. Well, let me feel if there's any suction coming out of here. How's that? If there's suction coming out of here. Alright, so I'm going to feel if there's any suction coming out of here. Yes! Good suction. Look at my cheeks. Definitely getting suction out of here, which is good. Okay? So, hey, maybe I got no gas. That could be it. You know, to really test it, I should get like a jug of gas and stick this fuel line in there and see if it sucks it up. I'll do that. So I just changed the fuel pump. I have a OEM original Briggs and Stratton fuel pump. It's got a container of fuel. I'm gonna just stick the hose in here. Here's the line. See if any fuel comes out when I crank. There we go. The fuel pump was busted. So now I'm going to stick this hose back onto the carburetor. We'll see if it fires up this time. Or stand away. Oh, I'm gonna choke it. Should be getting gas now into the carburetor. Weird. See any gas. Trickle some gas in here. You know, I still don't see any gas. Didn't we see gas before? Here, let's try it again. Damn it. No gas. Ain't gonna fire without gas. Man, I don't get it. Should I try a third fuel pump? Third fuel pump. That's it. I don't have any more. Sons of bitches. 3 fuel pumps. Can you believe that? Can you believe that shit? Hey, all right. Well, that worked. It's getting fuel. I'm going to stick this back onto the main fuel of the tractor. It's going to take a while for that to suck up too, I'm sure. Oh, I didn't connect the throttle. That'll help. I have to connect the throttle. So I just connected the throttle before this was connected to this. See? Well, I don't want, because this thing is facing the hood, you know, so I'm not going to be able to use this, right? So this is the throttle cable from the tractor. See? Boom. I don't know how that's going to work. I also found this thing here connects onto the breather. I'll find 2 little screws, secure that on, and I could put like a filter on top like that, comb them. Alright, I'm going to try starting it up again. sounds great, doesn't it? I wonder if the shutoff works though. Yeah, that was the shutoff. This black wire, and this kill switch was on. Okay. Man, that's great. Maybe it's out of gas now. Yeah, probably out of gas now for sure. How about that, guys? Man, that sounds great, doesn't it? I'm stoked. Fantastic. I'm gonna put some gas in there, button it up. Hey guys, support my channel. Buy a sticker. Got the bumper sticker too. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. Follow my Instagram @MowersBlowers.